And when I talk about business, I'm not talking about that thing that some people go and do every day because they're highly skilled at doing it with their own hands, being responsible for everything that happens in the business. Those aren't typically businesses. Those are jobs. Those are self-employment situations or practices, if you will. Now, I say that with absolute respect. I am personally a recovering attorney. I did that for about 25 or more years. I know what a practice is all about. Some law firms are businesses. Most, by far, are practices. What I'm talking about when I talk about a business is I'm talking about something that not only works when you are there, but works when you're not there. Works even in your absence when you're gone, not just for a day or 2 days, but even for extended periods of time. So the question is, how do you do that, and how do you even begin to think about it? Well, it really begins with a certain truth. It's a certain truth about small business that we've discovered over the years, and I'm affiliated with a company and with an author, Michael Gerber, who started his own company about 33 years ago. And together we've been responsible for more than 60,000 in 145 countries and looking at what's working and what's not working in those businesses. And the truth about the vast majority of small businesses is that they're not started, for the most part, by entrepreneurs, as we think about it. They're not started by entrepreneurs, but for the most part, they're started by what we've come to call technicians suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure. You know, the person who knows how to frame a house starts a construction company. The person that knows how to fix a car starts a garage. The person that knows how to do accounting and accounting practice, and so on. So we have to begin by looking at the truth about who the small business owner is and what their bias is and what they think about every day when they do it. It reminds me of a quote I once heard by Harry Truman. You know, Harry Truman was once, sometimes people would call him, say, "Give him hell, Harry." That was kind of his nickname, and he responded to that one time by saying, "You know what, I really don't give people hell. I just tell the truth, and sometimes that feels like hell." So what we're going to talk about today is truth that sometimes feels painful, if you will. So the small business begins with the technician or the person who decides they're going to start a business with this great vision in mind, this idea, this concept or dream, if you will. How many of you, when you started your business, had a dream that you were going to create something that gave you more life, that gave you a magnificent way of living that you wouldn't be able to get any other way, right? You thought, well, I'm going to have more time, I'm going to have more money, I'm going to have more freedom, I'm going to have more ability to control my destiny, I'm going to be a master of my life. How's that working? Not so well, right? Every business that we've seen, every business that we run into is absolutely perfectly designed to get the result they're getting. And what we see is that every business is misdesigned, if you will, because it was based on the wrong set of assumptions. And the primary assumption that they're based on is that because I know how to do the technical work, because I know the product that my business is going to deliver, I therefore know how to run a business that does it, which is completely false. They have absolutely not one thing to do with one another. As a matter of fact, I would suggest to you that if you had a background as a poodle clipper, you would have a better chance of starting a construction company than the guy that knows how to frame a house. Because you would be forced to understand what it means to create a company that frames houses. You can go out and find people to frame. You can go out and find the expertise. You can go out and create that for yourself. But to create the business that does it is another story. And if what you knew is how to frame a house, that's what you'd spend your time doing, because when the going gets tough, the technician just starts making more widgets. And it becomes more exaggerated when the economy's tough. We simply dig our heels in and start doing things that we know how to do because we're comfortable doing it, and everything else just scares the heck out of us. And it's the last thing in the world that you need to do. The first thing you need to do is begin to look and think more strategically in your business. So the technician creates this business and goes to work in the business doing the one or two things that she knows how to do and slugging through about 14 other things that she doesn't know how to do until one day he or she wakes up and says, maybe I should try to find somebody else that knows how to do some of this stuff. You know, so in the small emerging business, that usually becomes somebody like a salesperson or a bookkeeper. You know, something I don't know how to do, something I don't want to do, something I detest doing or whatever. So we're going to go out and, quote, leverage ourselves. We're going to go out and, quote, delegate, when in fact what happens is this whole duty or responsibility or accountability is thrown at somebody because they know how to do bookkeeping or because they know how to sell, and you just kind of put them out there with some minimal idea of what you do and what you're looking for because you don't know. It's the reason you tried to get rid of the job, because you don't know. And so you can begin to see what happens to the vision, what happens to the dream. The salesperson that you hired is going out and saying whatever they want to say based on, you know, your product description, based on the price you charge, based on what you say they need to sell. What do you think they're promising other people that you're going to deliver? Who knows? You don't. What do you think the books look like now that the bookkeeper's doing the books? Who knows? You don't. So it becomes this cycle of employment by, you know, Russian roulette. You know, you sort of push them out there and you say, here, you figure this out, you help me figure this out, and if you're really good at it, you're going to be part of the team, and if you're not really good at it, you're out of here. Just like the rest of those idiots. And so on and so on. That, believe it or not, is how most businesses are run.